Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. First, let me welcome you to Columbia Business School's recognition ceremony. Today, we recognize the successful completion of our Executive MBA program by 280 amazing individuals, as well as some above and beyond accomplishments by a number of our students, faculty, and honored guests. We're thrilled to have you all together under one roof to share in such a special day for the Columbia Business School community. So, about the weather. Yeah, we tried to cajole as best we could the weather gods into giving us sunny and 75 degrees, and as you can see, their reply seems to suggest that they had something a little more challenging in mind for us all. A Japanese soldier in the 17th century, Yamamoto Tsunetomo, wrote once that one must know the so-called lesson of a downpour. A man caught in a sudden rain en route dashes along the road trying not to get wet or drenched. Once one takes it for granted that in rain he naturally gets wet, he can be in a tranquil frame of mind even when soaked to the skin. This lesson applies to everything. Tsunetomo's lesson certainly applies to the experience that you have had in the EMBA program. You each heard during orientation how this program might feel to you like drinking from a fire hose. You've been immersed in a rigorous classroom environment, swam the channels of different career development opportunities, and had cups overflowing in your social experiences. Combined with your work and family endeavors, I think this qualifies as a thorough soaking. And yet, our faculty and staff agree that you have been the epitome of professional, engaged, and attentive throughout your time here. Perhaps not tranquil, but instead resolute. This is how you will be remembered here at Columbia Business School. Resolute, resilient, and receptive to one of the deepest dives of your life. Congratulations to you and to those who supported you on this immense, successful journey. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you this morning to our Dean, Glenn Hubard. Dean Hubard was asked to lead our community in July 2004. A Columbia faculty member since 1988, he is also the Russell L. Carson Professor of Finance and Economics. Dean Hubard received his BA and BS degrees, summa cum laude, from the University of Central Florida. He also holds AM and PhD degrees in economics from Harvard University. After graduating from Harvard, Dean Hubard began his teaching career at Northwestern University, moving to Columbia in 1988. He has been a visiting professor at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government and Harvard Business School, as well as at the University of Chicago. Dean Hubard has held the John M. Olin Fellowship at the National Bureau of Economic Research. He teaches one of our most popular courses, Entrepreneurial Finance, multiple times each year. In addition to writing more than 100 scholarly articles in economics and finance, Dean Hubard is the author of 3 popular textbooks, as well as co-author of The Aid Trap, Hard Truths About Ending Poverty, Balance, The Economics of Great Powers from Ancient Rome to Modern America, and Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, 5 Steps to a Better Healthcare System. His commentaries appear in Business Week, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Times, The Financial Times, The Washington Post, Nikkei, and the Daily Yomiuri, as well as on TV and radio. In government, Dean Hubard served as Deputy Assistant Secretary for Tax Policy at the U.S. Treasury Department and as Chair of the U.S. Council of Economic Advisors. In the corporate sector, he is a Director of ADP, BlackRock Closed-End Funds, and MetLife. Dean Hubard is co-chair of the Committee on Capital Markets Regulation and is a past chair of the Economic Club of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium our Dean, Glenn Hubard.
Thanks, Michael. Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you on behalf of all of my colleagues to this recognition ceremony for the 140 members of the BA class, the 106 members of the EM class, and 34 members of the EMBA Americas class. And to all of our graduates, a special congratulations. Give yourself another round of applause. You all are extraordinary classes and an extraordinarily diverse group that represents really every possible industry and background, from finance and technology, healthcare, consulting, media, marketing. You call among you 37 different countries home, from Peru and Poland to Haiti and Hong Kong and Russia. You speak 24 different languages, including Hindi, Hebrew, Japanese, Portuguese, and I am told by my colleagues, English. You are incredibly accomplished to boot. More than a quarter of you entered the class with at least one other advanced degree under your belt. And you will find among you a race car driver, a professional football player, surfers, skiers, a sommelier, a coffee taster, and a bagpipe player. Perhaps some of the most talented among you are the parents in your class. An impressive 22, that's right, 22 of you welcomed a child during your time in the program. And let's not forget about... Let's not forget about those partners, spouses, children, and loved ones who supported you through residence weeks, through international seminars, and weekends spent in the library. 27 of you tied the knot during the program, and 10 more of you got engaged. Congratulations. It is particularly gratifying for me and for all of my colleagues on the faculty to see how you exemplify some of the things we all hold dear about this school. Of course, you're bright and talented and committed to the principles of leadership, principles of entrepreneurial thinking, and you're committed to one another. Now, I know that I could tell you 280 success stories about today's graduate, and I want to tell you a few. One of them is Dilip Rao, who after 8 years in investment banking launched ShareBite, a food ordering marketplace with a social impact mission. After only 2 weeks at Columbia, Dilip connected with an alum who he eventually partnered with to create a platform that enables users to place a food order at the restaurant of their choice. For every order placed, ShareBite then donates a meal to a child in need in New York City or gives to the charity of the user's choice. To date, more than 100,000 such meals have been donated, and ShareBite is on its way to achieving scalable impact and solving a problem. As a result of that big effort, As a result of that very big effort, Dilip has earned numerous accolades and was suggested for the 2017 cohorts of the Columbia Greenhouse and IE at Columbia programs. So congratulations. Lauren Anderson, Priscilla Guevara, and Rachel Hawkins are also on a social mission. Their startup, Flourish.life, is a digital content platform and marketplace for businesses that will integrate social impact into their very business strategy. They offer intelligent marketing capabilities, predictive analytics, and social connections to the consumer. The business idea was honed during the time in the program with support of the Lang Center, and Flourish.life is now operating in 3 metropolitan cities with an eye on expansion. So best of luck. A few of your other classmates also had ideas that flourished. Salima Rasul launched a business and education consulting during her time in the program. Bloom Education is a global educational consulting firm that provides both education and career solutions to people and institutions worldwide through both tailored strategy and advice. From guidance on the admissions process to career probabilities and possibilities, Bloom aims to turn a typically stressful time into a fun, to a transformative experience for students and for their families. Now, Salima credits her classmates, her entrepreneurship courses, and professors Noam Wasserman and Malia Mason for helping guide her through the startup process. So I'm sure we'll be hearing about more growth. Now, speaking of perennials, Bradley Gordon recently accepted a job with another Blossom-inspired business, Bloom Energy, in California. He'll be working with a sales team to get Bloom's technology, solid oxide fuel cells, out into the market. Bloom's customers use these fuel cells to reduce or eliminate reliance on the electrical grid, which of course equates to a tremendous improvement in carbon impact and in energy resilience. Bradley made the connection through the Columbia Alumni Network and used the Career Management Center to work through the logistics in the negotiations process. Anna Pavlik, MD, not only got paid during her time in the program, but paid it forward. She's a professor in the Department of Medicine at NYU Langone and co-director of their melanoma program. During her time in EMBA, she was a member of the international team of clinical cancer investigators who conducted the immunotherapy trials for metastatic melanoma patients that changed the overall survival rate from 5% of patients to 70% of patients. She developed and presented a business plan for the future state of the NYU Cancer Center Clinical Trials Office to the senior leadership of the hospital, successfully securing an additional $5.5 million in funding from the hospital for the project. Thank you, Anna, for this important work. You can now put saving lives on your CV. Many of you made big leaps in your current careers or took leaps of faith into new ones. When she started the program, Jamie Lee was comfortable in her path as a successful executive at General Electric. But after courses with professors like Paul Ingram and Wei Zhang and Bill Duggan and Paul Johnson, Dan Eisenberg and Bruce Craven, a world of possibilities opened up. So she took a job with Current, a startup inside General Electric. At Current, she's working to create intelligent environments by incorporating smart sensors into all kinds of lighting fixtures in a variety of buildings, from retail to manufacturing to education. For the first time, she's really not 100% sure what her next step will be, but she feels confident in the possibilities she'd never have considered, frankly, 2 years ago, and the future looks pretty bright. Now, since starting the program, Vasant Ali has been hired into a Fortune 500 company, transitioning from independent consulting, and was promoted twice in less than 18 months. He credits Columbia for playing a large role in the promotion. And Kimberly Warren was also promoted during her time in the EMBA to Vice President and Global Product Sales in the Exponent division of Verizon. Congratulations. I guess congratulations squared, and best of luck. Now, since the day you all arrived, everybody in this school has challenged you to be active, to be contributing members of the community, and you've more than met this challenge as students, and I know you will continue to do so as you join the ranks of 44,000 men and women around the world as CBS alumni. That community is more vital than ever, and the personal and professional friendships that you have created in your time here at Columbia will form the foundation of many lifelong friends and members in the Columbia Business School community. You've learned a lot in your time here, but I just want to focus on two things with you that a great business school like this one can impart. The first is the observation that your MBA is like a calling card that says to the world, I am entrepreneurial. I am a problem solver. I can solve the whole puzzle, not just a piece of it, and I can seize upon opportunity in any environment. Second mark of a great business school, it should, and this one does, prepare you for a lifelong career in business, in social enterprise, in public service, for all of you, all of you. It means not just a skill set, the things you have literally learned, but a mindset, the things you can now appreciate that will help you succeed. And because you already know a lot more than many less experienced MBAs about what to expect from your careers, you know, and we know, that the value of your degree and your experience here will unfold over a lifetime. You are graduating from business school in a period of very exciting opportunity and, needless to say, change in the world of business. And you no doubt do so with a perspective over the past several years of business cycles. A transformative 21st century curriculum has helped you unlock within yourself how to create opportunity in any environment. And thanks to this school's unique position here in New York, you've really benefited from an unrivaled access to myriad industry and visionary business leaders. The reputation and strength of the alumni and the school has equipped you with the knowledge and access you really need to help yourself make the lasting impact I know you can. As an alum, which you now will be, this network will provide you with the connections to foster your own creativity, invite your own entrepreneurial thinking, and open your own doors to opportunity. And these tools will give you the confidence and ability to succeed on your terms. You couldn't be better prepared. But I have to be honest with you, with the rewards of your MBA also come responsibility. That is, what does it really mean to be a graduate of a place like Columbia Business School? I hope and expect, we all hope and expect, that as you take big strides in your career, that you're inspired to remember new generations of students and remember the support that you received in your time here as a proud steward of the Columbia Business School brand, adding value to the community. So what happens this morning? Now, in one sense, the familiar sense, the bubble over your head sense, you will graduate. You will become part of the school's alumni network throughout the world like so many people before you, and you're going to make a mark. I know you'll be inspired by your predecessors like Jerry Spire or Lee Cooperman, Henry Kravis, Lulu Wang, Robert Smith or Russ Carson, Tracy Travis, Sally Krawcheck, Warren Buffett, Jamie Kern Lima, John Martin, Tim Campos, and thousands of names that I could mention. 44,000 such. That community is your community. Be sure you leverage it and do so for a lifetime. Now, on days like this, I actually prefer a different word. It's a more old-fashioned word, commencement, because that word has an explicit reference to a beginning. You will continue a life of engagement in business and society, but you're beginning it at a new level. And as you leave here, remember again that the value of your EMBA experience will unfold over time. What I look forward to hearing from you in the years to come is what you didn't expect, but you still got anyway from the program and from your degrees. I'm looking forward to hearing from you what this mindset I referred to will give you, your company, and the world. But I want to leave you with a thought. Most of all, never forget what a noble calling business itself is, and the power that lies within each and every one of you today and going forward to transform the lives of other business leaders and entrepreneurs, along with communities and nations around the world. Remember that your MBA today is a master of choices. What matters most to me, what matters most to your friends and family is not the change jingling in your pocket after commencement, but the change you're going to make in the world. Congratulations to all of you. Give yourselves another round of applause. Before I blow away up here, it is now my pleasure to turn the microphone over to Kelly Martin Blanco.
Yeah. Thank you, Dean Hubard. Welcome, everyone, and congratulations. The Executive MBA Commitment to Excellence Award was established in memory of Professor Margaret K. Chandler to recognize a faculty member for his or her outstanding contributions to the class. For the EMBA Americas class, this year's recipient is Bob Bontempo. Bob received his PhD in social psychology from the University of Illinois in 1989, where his dissertation was funded by a grant from the MacArthur Foundation. He went on to become a fellow at the Stanford Center for Advanced Study in the Behavioral Sciences. His research has been published in a wide variety of journals in Europe, Asia, and the United States, and his perspectives on management are featured regularly in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, The Economist, as well as network news broadcasts. Bob is a leading advisor to senior executives worldwide in his industry practice, focused on building executive development as an organizational capability. As faculty director of Columbia Business School's Emerging Leader Development Program, he has been in the forefront of executive and organizational development for more than 20 years. His current consulting clients include the Federal Reserve and the United Nations. In addition to winning the Singvi Prize for Outstanding Leadership in the Classroom, Bob has a number of teaching awards from Columbia Business School and the University of Illinois, and was named one of the top U.S. MBA professors by Businessweek magazine. Please join me in congratulating Bob Bontempo and welcome him to the podium.
Very nice. Thank you, Kelly. I want to start by saying thank you for inviting me to be here today. It's deeply satisfying that I've been asked to come and have a chance to say hello. Students often ask how one class differs from another and what was your experience. And of course, you always have to say, well, this was a very special group and it was wonderful. But I think I'm here today because this was a very special group. And the cohort of EMBA Americas worked together in an unusually productive and communal way, and I think it exemplifies what we try to create here in our sense of a learning community. And so I thank you for that. It was a great experience for me. Now, I have a very brief few minutes to make maybe one point, that much of the course that I teach is focused on the idea of feedback. We learn through feedback. We can get better through feedback. For me, being invited to be here today is the nicest kind of feedback that I can get. But as leaders, we can continue to develop and grow by paying close attention to how our actions are impacting those around us, whether they're helping us achieve our goals. I'm confident that the members of the EMBA class will continue on the path that we've begun, the path of lifelong learning and continuous personal improvement. By being here today, you've already accomplished something that's quite remarkable, and I have every confidence you'll continue as you move forward. But I want to take this opportunity, maybe one more time, to teach you one thing. It's another aspect of feedback. It's not your ability to learn and monitor your progress from the feedback you get from others. It's to think about the impact that some special moment has had on you. I'd like you to reflect for 1 second. I bet many of you here today can think about a transformational comment or a special moment that somebody had with you. Maybe they didn't even appreciate it. Maybe it was somebody you work with that encouraged you to come to the program. Maybe it was a high school teacher that recognized you had a special talent. Maybe it was a family member that gave you a piece of encouragement when you really needed it. That person probably doesn't realize the tremendous transformational impact it had on you. And that's kind of a shame. Part of the problem is we often take it for granted how other people feel about us. But today's a very special moment. We came together in this unusual circumstance. We're dressed up in funny robes. So it's a special chance, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. let's start by giving people feedback about the impact they've had on you. Let's start right now by letting these people over here know. These folks have traveled, in some cases, very far and made great sacrifices. They're staying in a hotel. They dragged their relatives along. They're sitting in the rain. Let's give them a hand right now and let them know how much we really appreciate this. They need to know how much you appreciate what they've done for them. Don't take it for granted that they hear that. Now, let me go further. You realize that for you to be here, there were probably lots of folks who were inspirational and made a difference. They might be some of these folks here, the tremendous staff, the huge program of the Columbia folks who make this all possible. But there's a lot of other folks. I like to think of the caterers, the people that make the gallons of coffee available that, for me at least, class teaching would not be possible, right? There's dozens and dozens of people along the way who made a real difference. And I'm asking you to make sure that you let them know how important it was in the same way that other people have inspired you. So in closing, my basic message is, you have had the benefit of a moment here or there of somebody who maybe transformed your life. Let them know. But the next point is, you're now leaders. You're now graduates. And as such, it's now your responsibility to become that transformational, inspirational person who gives other people feedback. And in the same way that other folks have lifted up you to be here today, it's now your chance to be that inspirational, transformational leader that inspires other folks. And so as you go forth, I wish you the best of luck and my best wishes as you continue to grow and become the best person you can be. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bob. It is now my pleasure to introduce Becky Vanderpier, who was chosen by her classmates in the EMBA Americas class as today's speaker. Becky started her career as a journalist, working as a writer and editor for companies including Fairfax Media, ZDNet, and Yahoo. She came to Columbia as she officially switched her career to work in her family office in Toronto. That said, Becky's favorite job is being a mom to her two young daughters, Libby and Katie. Becky has a Bachelor of Arts from Duke University, as well as a Master of Journalism from Australia's University of Technology in Sydney. She is, in her words, super excited to add an MBA from Columbia to that list. Becky, the feeling is mutual. I also want to thank you and your parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gardner, who are here somewhere, for hosting us and making us feel so welcome in Toronto a couple of years ago. Please join me in welcoming Becky to the podium.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm just so honored to be chosen as the EMBA Americas class speaker. For me, this is a really, really big deal. Being up here makes me feel like a slightly older, slightly chubbier, slightly less well-dressed version of Reese Witherspoon's Elle Woods in 2001's masterpiece coming-of-age tale, Legally Blonde. Except, instead of skipping frat parties and overcoming harsh blonde stereotypes to eventually triumph as class speaker at Harvard Law School, I had to figure out how to manage parenting my two incredible young daughters, my life as a journalist, and the 13th percentile quantitative ranking I earned the first time I took the GMAT to get to this outstanding place, Columbia Business School. One thing Elle and I did have in common is that we both had our hearts broken before we started school. She by her preppy, no-good boyfriend, me when my 10-year marriage ended 3 days before I was set to get on a plane and fly to New York City for my first day of class. Getting on that plane, I was scared. I didn't know what to expect of the next 20 months at Columbia, let alone the next 20 years of my life. What I did know is that my life was going to change, and like it or not, it was going to change right now. What I soon found out was that that change was going to be great. Of course, my classes here at Columbia were excellent. The 20 months I spent at this university changed my career and the way I operate in my family office every day. But what undoubtedly changed me the most are my classmates. These people I am proud and fortunate to call my friends. Stepping into Warren Hall on day one, I found myself amongst some of the smartest, funniest, kindest, most interesting and supportive people, not just that I have ever met, but that I believe exist in this country and on this planet. My EMBA Americas cluster are 32 remarkable people who on that very first day didn't know me from the next person standing in line at IT Services, but who embraced me right away for who I was, regardless of what I was going through. They saw me immediately at a time when I was lost to myself. I soon learned that I wasn't the only one giving the middle finger to life's obstacles. Put aside for a moment the fact that we all completed our MBAs while working full-time and that we were traveling from all parts of the world just to attend class. We had real life happening to us too. One of my classmates, for example, was a successful surgeon in the height of his career when a car accident put a stop to that. But instead of feeling sorry for himself, he started over in the business world and came to Columbia to cement his new path. Others in my class were dealing with health issues, family issues, infertility, or too much fertility. A hearty congrats to all the new parents, guys. Yeah. And many were doing their MBA in a second or third language when there were times I could barely understand what was going on in my first. My professors, quite literally some of the smartest people on the planet, are no less inspiring. He may tell you his story when he speaks, he may not, but just Google one of my absolute favorite professors, Paul Johnson, plus SEC, and you'll know what I'm talking about. This man was one of many people here who showed me by example what it looks like to take life's BS and to use it as handy fertilizer to grow something better. I tell my friends in Toronto that when I was at Columbia, I worked harder than I ever had in my life, and that my end goal, my ultimate dream goal, was to achieve mediocrity. It sounds funny, I know, but the truth is I'm proud to be considered average amongst this group of phenomenal people. Just being around them made me want to push myself more, aim for better, and actually see success as more than I thought I was capable of. Look, I'm going to spare you any platitudes I could give at this moment. I don't feel that I'm in any position to offer you thoughts about what the future looks like or give you advice on how to act as business leaders. I'm still learning from you, and I hope I always will be. This is not that kind of speech. What I can tell you is that this experience has taught me that it's always possible to take steps to make life better. And being open-minded and inclusive, like my classmates were with me, is not just a nice thing to do, but it can really change someone's life for the better. This is my opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to you, my friends and mentors, without whom I would not have been able to recognize the worst time in my life as really my evolution into a stronger, happier, and more fulfilled person. I am so lucky to have found myself at Columbia when I did, to have been with you incredible people. And I am so lucky and so privileged to represent you here today. I'm especially lucky to have my two daughters, Libby and Katie, somewhere out here in the audience. Fingers crossed, they have put down their iPads and have actually noticed that I'm talking. Because even if they can't yet appreciate this full circle moment for me, they can be a part of this once-in-a-lifetime celebration of the people who changed my life. Thank you.
For the EMBA New York Saturday class, this year's Executive MBA Commitment to Excellence Award recipient is Professor Paul Ingram. Paul Ingram is the Kravis Professor of Business at Columbia Business School and the Faculty Director of the Columbia Advanced Management Program, Columbia's flagship residential program for senior executives around the globe. Professor Ingram earned his PhD from Cornell University, and he served on the faculty of Carnegie Mellon University before coming to Columbia. He has held visiting professorships at Tel Aviv University, Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and the University of Toronto. The courses he teaches on management and strategy draw from his research on organizations in the United States, Canada, Israel, Scotland, England, China, Korea, and Australia. His research has been published in more than 60 articles, book chapters, and books. Professor Ingram's current research examines the intersection between culture and social networks. At Columbia Business School, Professor Ingram has received the Dean's Award for Teaching Excellence, won the Commitment to Excellence Award as voted on by graduating EMBA students 4 times, and 3 times has been chosen by graduating EMBA students to deliver the keynote speech at their commencement ceremony. Please join me in congratulating and welcoming to the podium Professor Paul Ingram.
I'm thrilled to be here to recognize the great achievement of the class of 2017. Graduating from the Columbia Business School is an achievement for you, but it's also an achievement for your families, the spouses, children, parents, and friends who've supported you. I hope they enjoy this celebration as much as you do because they've earned it. The same is true for me. I'm here because of the support of my beautiful wife, Allie, my wonderful daughters, Alexandra and Amanda, and I'm very happy that they're here today. I'm particularly happy that Amanda is here to see me today because she is almost 5 years old, and she still doesn't really seem to believe that I'm a teacher. The first time I told her I was a teacher, she said, "Daddy, you can't be a teacher because you're a boy." I think I successfully convinced her that boys can be teachers, although it probably won't help my argument that the first time she sees me at work, I'm wearing a red dress. But I think the real reason that Amanda doesn't think I'm a teacher is because her image of a school is the yellow room at the Park West Montessori. And of course, the yellow room is nothing like the Columbia Business School. Think about it. In the yellow room, the students struggle through lessons until they can take a nap in class. I know nothing like that ever happened in Warren Hall on a Saturday afternoon. I would be deeply shocked if any of you ever wanted to take a nap in the middle of one of my classes. In the yellow room, the students are fed snacks constantly. Their whole day is structured around lunch. It's almost like the teachers use food to keep the kids under control. And of course, we'd never stoop to a trick like that at the Columbia Business School. And in the yellow room, Amanda tells me, the teachers say that they're trying to help you, but they ask you to do things that you don't want to do. And sometimes they're just scary. Well, maybe on that one dimension, the Columbia Business School is a little like the yellow room. Actually, the more I think about it, I'm not so sure the yellow room really is that different from the Columbia Business School. In fact, 25 years from now, if Amanda does a degree here, I think she'll recognize the similarities. Maybe then she'll finally believe that her father is a teacher. As a teacher, I'm happy to accept this award. I'm very fond of this class. Recently, I flipped through the Columbia Facebook pictures for the class. As I looked at all of you, I found myself smiling. One reason that I was smiling was that you were all smiling in your pictures. I've never seen a group that looks so happy to be joining the Columbia Business School. I also smiled because of the things I remembered as I looked at the pictures. I remembered the first time I met all of you in an orientation session, and I remembered hundreds of moments since then, in class and outside of class. They included each and every one of you. I also looked back at the work that your class produced. One of the things I looked at was a set of values that you identified in a class exercise. Looking at Cluster E and Cluster M, I was struck by how much you have in common. For both sections, the top values were happiness, integrity, and achievement. Think about those values: happiness, integrity, and achievement. I hope you realize how aligned this day is with those values. You've achieved something great, you've done it with integrity, and right now I hope you're as happy as you deserve to be. Of course, the values of clusters E and M were not exactly the same. Cluster E, you differentiated yourself by having maximize income as one of your top values. I bet you're happy right now because you think you don't have to keep writing checks to Columbia. I'm sorry to have to tell you that I think Dean Hubard has a different plan. Section M, you stood out because instead of maximizing income, you had recognition as a top value. I know that means that you want me to finish the short speech so you can get up on stage and get your own recognition. Well, standing between Section M and recognition is an uncomfortable place to be, so I'm going to give you one last thought and then get out of the way. In class, we talked about the fact that people are happiest when they're pursuing a dream, and that actually achieving a dream is a mixed blessing because it can leave you aimless. I suggested in class that if you ever achieved a dream, you should savor it for a little while, but then quickly move forward by identifying a new aspiration. And I'll say the same thing to you today. You've achieved something fabulous, and you really should celebrate it. Enjoy this weekend with your family and friends, and be proud of yourself as I am proud of all of you. But don't wallow in it. Come Monday morning, start thinking about the next great thing you are going to achieve, and make your new goal worthy of you. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote that it is better to travel hopefully than to arrive. My hope for you is that you travel hopefully. And I'm so grateful to be here to see you begin your journeys. Thank you and congratulations.
I'm now happy to introduce you to Kush Teotia, who was chosen by his fellow students to be the graduation speaker for the EMBA New York Saturday class. Kush is a director at Barclays and is the global head of client strategy for their currencies business. He has been with Barclays since 2008, including 3 years in Hong Kong as COO for their Asia equity business. Kush graduated from Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken, go Ducks, in 2005 with a dual degree, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering and a Master's in Telecom Management. As an EMBA student, Kush has served as the career representative for Cluster E and also served on the EMBA Advisory Council. He's originally from India and lives in New Jersey with his wife, Deepti, and his 2 kids, Ayush and Anya. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Kush.
Thank you. Dean Hubard, Dean Kelly, EMBA team, distinguished faculty, friends and family, and the fellow members of Class of 17, congratulations, we made it. Each of us stands here today to express our gratitude to all of you, and I'm privileged and honored to speak today on behalf of my fellow classmates, EMBA Saturday. And I want to talk about 2 themes, talk about community and talk about self-reflection. Let's talk about community first. Many Saturdays, block weeks, weeknights later, we all stand here today looking back to what seems to me just like one long day. You know, bright and early start at Palisades before we came back to Warren, where we were welcomed by an amazing spread of breakfast that only got thinner and thinner as the terms progressed. Whether it was the imbalanced account receivables in accounting in the summer, or the drifting capital ratios in corporate finance, or the not-so-linear utility curves in macroeconomics, we knew there was always a way to Bernheim at the end of it all. And that's thanks to our social chair's location chip. We survived the core. We survived the core thanks to Sarah and Kathy, our academic reps, for their weekly emails, which we all dearly missed during the electives. We endured the block weeks, especially the one with Dean Hubard with some long nights. We braved the polar vortex on a cab ride or a walk back home after not so timely dismissal of classes. But it wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy, but there was always someone you could count on to help. And it starts with everybody in our cohorts, E10 for me, which stood the test of multiple case studies every week, followed by everybody here who always came together to celebrate each of our milestones. Today is all about us, and not one person alone. The simple fact is that our experience was never just about one Saturday, one course, or one particular deliverable. It was always about each other. We questioned each other, we questioned ourselves, and we all grew as a community. From here on, though, it marks the start of a new day, which brings me to my other theme, self-reflect. We will all reflect on our business school experience to determine the main tenets that will shape who we are. Some will fondly remember that wall skew is not an indicator of market sentiment. Some will fondly remember their sloppy fantasy football picks or the Star Wars Halloween costumes. Not to mention the fact that in a room plus of 50 people, at least 2 are bound to have the same birthday. I think we need one more, which is embracing our changed perspective and to self-reflect. As we all reluctantly crawl back into the life after school and we draw our own valuation models from here on, we run the risk of letting dry, mundane issues creep back in and fill up our lives so we repeat each day what we do every day. Buried somewhere in the same repetition are the same frustrations that we all walked away from and came to CBS 2 years ago. This place has taught us to approach life with greater insight and to question what is presented to you until you truly believe in it for yourself. It has challenged us to identify and explore opportunities and inefficiencies in the world around us. Everyone here has an incredible story. I wish I could share with you all of them so they could leave a lasting impression on you, just like they have on me. Dilip Rao, who saw an opportunity in the New York food ordering market that combined food delivery with a social mission. Anna Pavlik, who continues her research on metastatic melanoma and has saved lives of many. And Danny Cow, who inspires to never stop learning. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, and now he's a business school graduate. He lined up at JFK offering help to those who were affected by the executive order on immigration earlier in the year. See, these are just some of the people who continue to inquire, continue to shape. And this power of inquiry, shape, is rooted in the connections we've all made and the questions we have asked. And today, I know it's the community sitting before me that made and still makes this program and this place so difficult to leave. Today, I also know is a day to celebrate the personal sacrifices, the perseverance, and the sheer will of my grandparents and my parents who had very simple beginnings plagued with hardships. This journey of our family from a remote village in rural India, where my grandfather grew up with only 2 sets of clothes and would have to walk for an hour each way to get to the nearest school, to Columbia University today, is a strong testament to their hard work and zeal for learning. Now, it will only be fair for all of us to thank our spouses and partners, and I want to give them a round of applause, so let's hear it for them. I want to thank my wife, Deepthi. I think we all owe our spouses and partners an extraordinary amount of gratitude, and they're, in my mind, the real graduates today. In addition to being supportive and accommodating of our time away from them and from home, in many cases, they've also had to take care of our kids. And I know my 2 kids, Ayush and Anya, are quite a delightful, but a very handful bunch. So we couldn't have done this without the smiles on their faces. And so, in closing, we should all look back on this remarkable journey with deep gratitude to our families, to our friends, to our faculty, only to look forward with hope that we promise each other to continue to self-reflect and not let ourselves sink back into a numbing routine, and that we live with a determined strive to scale higher feats for as long as we do. #YCBS. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kush. The EMBA New York, Friday, Saturday class has chosen Paul Johnson as the recipient of the Executive MBA Commitment to Excellence Award this year. Paul is the founder of Nacusa Investment Advisors, a private investment partnership that he started in 2003. He is co-author of Pitch the Perfect Investment, The Essential Guide to Winning on Wall Street, scheduled to be published in July of this year. He was a contributing annotator to The Most Important Thing Illuminated by Howard Marks, and co-authored both The History of Value Investing at Columbia Business School, A Century of Ideas, and The Guerrilla Game, Picking Winners in High Technology. Paul has been an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School since 1992. He has taught 38 courses on securities analysis and value investing to more than 1,800 students. He holds an MBA in finance from the executive program at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, and a BA in economics from the University of California at Berkeley. Please join me in welcoming Paul Johnson.
Apparently, the weather is part of the exchange program with London. Lovely. Students, faculty, parents and family, very important, fellow speakers, and Dean Hubard. It is a great honor to be here to accept the Teaching Excellence Award. As many of you know, and Kelly pointed out, I received an executive MBA, like you, 26 years ago on a 75-degree day. And like to believe I have some sense of what you're feeling today. Perhaps it's because I was invited to speak at graduation that I have been reflecting recently on the value of an MBA. Since I teach value investing, it's only natural that my first approach to answering this question would be to analyze the question by using the same methods I teach in my class. Besides, to a man with a hammer, every problem looks a little bit like a nail. I hope all my students remember that we separate the value of steady state from the value of growth. For the steady state cash flow, I decided to use your income from when you entered the program. And for the value of growth, the value of growth cash flows, I used the income after graduating. I figured that we could determine the value of your MBA by comparing your steady state value with the value of your growth. Although I didn't have data specifically for each of you, I thought it fair to take an average of income when you came into the program versus what I estimate you'll earn in the future as a class. As I entered the data into my valuation model in Excel, like I showed you in class, it dawned on me that maybe I've been teaching value investing too long. As I pondered the question a bit further, I realized that using a DCF to value your experience at Columbia is somewhat absurd. Although the quantitative approaches you've learned in your courses have great power when applied to the correct situations, I think that this would be a silly approach in this situation. I hope you would all agree that it's not about the growth in income, the present value of future cash flows, or any other specific financial metric. The value of the MBA is how the experience changed you as a person. Many of you have told me that your time at Columbia gave you experiences you would not have had, exposed you to topics that you did not know existed, and most importantly, allowed you to meet, interact, and be challenged by individuals you would not have met if you had not attended the program. These experiences have changed fundamentally your expectations, ambitions, and what you want to achieve in life. Simply put, you are not the same person you were 20 months ago. It would be hard to value these transformational experiences in terms of money. The question you now face is, where do you go from here? The first thing you will notice is that you will get your weekends back. Although without some planning, you'll be shocked how quickly the time gets absorbed into the ordinary aspects and the daily routines of life. I would recommend spending some time thinking about how you want to allocate your time. and not just your newly returned weekends. Many of you will soon discover, if you have not realized it already, that time is a finite and limited resource. As I observe in the final lecture in my course, if you want to know what's important to a person, look how they allocate their time. And if you want to know what's important to you, look at how you spend your time. I became an adjunct professor 25 years ago in September of 1992. A work colleague of mine named Charlie Wolf walked across the hall between our offices to see if I wanted to teach at Columbia Business School. I told Charlie that, sure, I would love to teach when I'm old like you. Charlie was in his early 60s at the time, which does not seem that old to me right now. Charlie had been a tenured professor at Columbia, but left academia to become a Wall Street analyst. He returned to CBS each fall to teach a class on security analysis, but needed someone to cover for him because of a personal conflict that year. I had graduated from Wharton only the year before and felt too young and inexperienced to teach an MBA course at a leading business school. Charlie was persuasive, however, and I agreed to teach the course, which was scheduled to start 3 weeks later. Being 31 years old at the time and have never taught anything in my life, I was incredibly nervous as I headed to Columbia for my first day of teaching. The students were receptive to their young professor, and I fell in love with being in the classroom in that first 3-hour lecture. I've been coming back ever since. The students continue to be receptive, and I love teaching more now than when I started. I completed teaching my 38th semester-long course this term, and if the schedule holds, I will teach this fall my 40th course at CBS on my 25th anniversary of being an adjunct professor. I'm delighted that I said yes. Thank you. I started when I was 12 years old. Well, I know some of you were doing the math. I'm delighted that I said to Charlie's request because I have found a passion in teaching that no other activity in my life ever provided. I often joke that my curiosity has OCD. I found that teaching allows me a forum to continue my education. Although students seem to appreciate the content of my lectures, no one has learned more in my classroom than I have. And I have all of you to thank for that. Receiving the Excellence in Teaching Award is a wonderful recognition of the efforts I've applied to becoming an accomplished professor. Thank you. When I sat in your chair waiting for my diploma, I had no idea what the next 25 years would bring. It proved to be a journey that far exceeded my wildest imagination, some of which was exciting and rewarding, while other parts challenged me to my core. Your path will be different than mine and from each other. Some of the adventures will blow your mind, while other parts will test your character. But they will all form your life. The world is changing at a faster pace than any time in our collective history, and you will not only have a front row seat to those developments, you and your classmates will be the leaders that direct and manage that change. I hope you take with you on that journey what you have learned from your experience at Columbia Business School. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It is my pleasure to introduce Fahad Ahmed, who was chosen by the EMBA New York Friday Saturday class to speak today. Fahad was born and raised in New York's Hudson Valley. He is the second of 4 sons to parents who instilled in each of their sons the importance of hard work and living life with integrity, values he believes brought him to Columbia Business School. Fahad has found great fulfillment helping his classmates tell their stories as a part of the school's CBS Matters program because, as he found out, everyone has a story to tell. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a master's degree in public administration. He currently works as a manager at Deloitte in the life sciences and healthcare sector. Prior to joining CBS, if you asked Fahad to describe himself in one sentence, he would say, "I'm a New York Mets fan." Now, he proudly says, "I'm a member of the CBS EMBA BA class of 2017, and a New York Mets fan. Please join me in welcoming Fahad to the podium.
Well, good afternoon to everyone, to Associate Dean Malone, Dean Hubard, thank you both very much for being here, and thank you to Kelly for that introduction. And I can't tell you how much we appreciated your entire staff for all of your support, especially to Susan Fees, who has been described as silent thunder of the administration. She has been incredibly helpful to all of us and really a great friend to everyone. And most of all, I want to thank all of my classmates here for this opportunity. I will miss you all very much. When this class first came together, I'll be honest, I was impressed. One day when I learned that we're a class comprised of top businessmen and women, we were consultants and we were marketers. We were doctors and scientists, we were entrepreneurs and veterans. It was fascinating learning about these accomplishments and all the various careers that we all have. All of us had extraordinary resumes even before we came to Columbia Business School. But in those early days, something happened. A change took place. The character of our class started to take shape. We cared less about who we were as professionals. We cared more about who we are as people. True relationships formed, and collectively, we learned who we are as a class. As a class, we're fearless. Before this program, we all had other commitments. We all had our work lives and our personal lives. Yet, we chose to take this on. We chose to add a full-time MBA course load to our lives. Even though we knew it would be difficult, we chose to do this. We showed that fearlessness comes in many different forms. Early on in this program, we identified our values. We picked a value word. Now, no one here could have expected how important this would be because no one could have ever predicted what this world would become and where our values are tested daily and we are expected to stand up for them, those values that we hold important as individuals, but also as a class. In our own ways, whenever our values are threatened, we have shown that we are fearless. If there is a need for conversation, we come together and speak. If there is a need to march, we march. We are also persistent. For 20 straight months, during every class, every project, every exam, we pushed ourselves to learn just a little bit more, to add this line to our resume. We pushed ourselves to create and foster relationships because we understood that our time together in this setting was short. We never went halfway. We never quit. Finally, we're optimistic. No matter how tough the workload was, no matter what challenges we faced inside and outside of the classroom, we remained optimistic. We remained confident that the work we were accomplishing would place us in the best position to meet our goals. Even when the wave of optimism was small, we stayed optimistic. We never let ourselves wear out. We never let our frustrations get us down. Fearlessness, persistence, optimism. These are the characteristics that make up this class. We will need these characteristics as we face our next challenge. Now that we have completed this experience, we need to decide, what do we do next? What do we do next? This curriculum taught us about creating shareholder value, but it also made us wonder, what's more important, shareholder value or social worth? Is our responsibility to the CEO at the top or to the community as a whole? Is adding the next line to our resume the only thing that matters? Some of us have already started to answer this question. We've contributed to charities, we've been involved in social group, we've served this country, we are already out there working to do good in the world. For others, this is our second chance, a second chance to change the direction of our careers to do good, to feeling completely fulfilled that we are adding real value. Because this world is what it is today, it's time to step up. There's no riding off into the sunset after this. There is no going back to who we used to be, not now, not after this program. This is not persistence. There's no optimism in this. In fact, it's a disservice to the fearlessness we've shown so far. You see, the character of our class, our education, and our experience makes us uniquely qualified to create meaningful change. this is what separates the executive MBA program from all other programs at this university. No other program boasts more success stories. No other program boasts more networks created. This program is truly the best of what Columbia University offers. It is exceptional, and it is exceptional because you all are exceptional, and I truly believe this. And if anyone is doubting this, just look at where you are. Consider what you have just accomplished. Despite the pressures of a full-time job, despite your obligations to your family and your friends, and despite managing all the distractions of this remarkable city, we committed ourselves to this program. We committed ourselves to each other, and it's this commitment that is the difference between us and all of our competitors, because unlike them, CBS matters. We are exceptional. We are exceptional, and we have great opportunities in front of us, great opportunities to let us add real value. You see, I firmly believe that great opportunities look for exceptional people to lead. The best part is that these opportunities are already here right now because there is an absence of leadership in the world. Leaders who are fearless, leaders who can persist when things get tough, and leaders who are able to instill optimism. Over the past 20 months, we have proved that we are this leader. So what do we do next? What we do next is seize this opportunity and fill this absence. Yes, the work will be difficult, but we have no reason to be intimidated because of this experience, we are all bound together. Your struggle is our struggle. Your success is our success. And if the weight of these great opportunities become too much for your shoulders to bear, remember, we go together. So class of 2017, it's time to step up. Be fearless, be persistent, be optimistic. It's time we recognize our abilities and seize this opportunity presented to us. It's time we become the leaders we always wanted our leaders to be. Because what we do next will not just be another accomplishment added as a line to our resume. What we do next will make it so that we never have to submit a resume ever again. Congratulations, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Now, it is my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker. Mary Beach is the Executive Vice President, Chief Marketing Officer at Kate Spade & Company, responsible for providing leadership and direction on all marketing and brand creative strategies. Prior to this role, Mary spent several years at Ralph Lauren, leading the company's marketing function for retail. In 2000, she joined the Walt Disney Company and spent the early part of her career defining and launching the Disney Princess brand. In 2006, Mary was appointed Vice President General Manager, Animation Consumer Products at Disney Pixar, leading all marketing and license category performance for Disney and Pixar filmed entertainment, and grew to be the Senior Vice President of this $4 billion retail business. In addition to all of her professional achievements, Mary has become a great friend to Columbia Business School. She regularly guest lectures in the classroom and is a student favorite speaker at many of the CBS conferences. Having had the chance to get to know her over the past year, she is incredibly kind and incredibly generous, and we are very lucky to have her part of the CBS community. Please join me in welcoming Mary Beach.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Fahad. Thank you to Dean Kelly and Dean Hubard, and to all of you for having me here today to join you in your celebration. In the second grade, at the father-daughter dance at my all-girls school, the dads were asked what they wanted their daughters to be when they grew up. Now, my dad didn't give any of the obvious answers of doctor or lawyer or teacher like the other dads. He said, "I want her to be a contributing member of society." I was 7. I had no idea what this meant. But this was a man who charged me rent to use our lawn for my lemonade stand, and then further charged me for the supplies for the lemonade, putting me in the red before I even left the front porch. I took to selling rocks on the vacant sidewalk across the street because the margins were better. So even at 7, I knew my dad was no dummy. and that this expectation about being a contributing member of society was pretty serious stuff. So as I set out to write this speech, I thought of my dad's wish, because before you even set foot on this campus, you already were contributing members of society. But then something made you want to up the ante on that contribution. Don't get me wrong, many people want to do more and achieve more, but not many are willing to give up 2 years of Friday night date nights and Saturday brunches in order to achieve it. So while I'm here under the auspices of inspiring you, honestly, I am the one who's inspired. You wanted to do more, and you did something about it, and something big. You are, each of you, an inspiration for that alone. Now, like all of you, I'm pretty confident that I did become a contributing member of society. But my interpretation of this expectation has changed dramatically over time. I was reminded of this evolution about 6 weeks ago in a nondescript building on First Avenue, where I was undergoing an MRI to find out if some tumors they had found in my kidneys were cancerous. Now, I realize this just took a morbid turn, so please know that the tumors were benign, and that the worst part of the experience was waiting for the results and the Taylor Swift music that I, in a moment of panic, requested played during the test. But here's what became crystal clear to me inside that MRI tube with T-Swift piped into my ears. You better be utterly at peace with your contribution to this world, or moments like that, moments when you are completely alone with who you are and what you have done, are going to be a little tough. While I hope you never face that particular situation, you will at some point face a moment where you are utterly alone with who you are. And if in that moment you can take an inventory of your contributions and come out humming "Welcome to New York" and feeling damn near giddy, then you've been pretty successful indeed. Successes are often viewed like notches in a belt. I'm confident, and I've heard all this morning, that you all already have a long list of successes, and today's MBA is yet another. You'll soon add to that list with businesses you start, titles you achieve, deals you do, Fast Company articles written about you, and TED Talks you give. But I would suggest that in your most alone moment, it's not these types of successes that will come into your head. This morning, I want to suggest to you several different ways of looking at success and ultimately your contribution to society. First, success is figuring out what you enjoy and doing that. What you enjoy is almost never the answer you give at a cocktail party when asked, "What do you do?" I don't enjoy being a CMO. I enjoy working with super creative people and helping them figure out how to make their creativity have the biggest impact on the world in which I operate. This has been the single consistent thread running through my career. Figure out sooner rather than later what you actually enjoy and make sure that weaves throughout every job decision you make. I've been doing what I actually enjoy for 23 years, and I can count on one hand the number of Sunday night blues I've had to suffer through. That is a measure of success. Secondly, success is prioritizing well. If the word priority is defined as the most important thing, then at any one time, each of us has 5 to 7 most important things. This isn't physically, spiritually, or even humanly possible. Now, while doing one thing at a time isn't happening for any of us, knowing your priorities and force ranking them is worthwhile. Your priorities when you walk off this stage are going to be different than your priorities next year and your priorities in 5 years, but have them nonetheless. I've tried prioritizing things a lot of different ways, but none of them worked for me before I landed on my own approach. I am inordinately clear that I am a wife first, a mother second, and an executive third. Now, my priorities aren't and shouldn't be yours. And thankfully, the planet has a pretty clear way of telling us what our priorities should be if we're listening. In my case, those came in the form of divorce papers and 2 children who called the nanny mama. If you remember nothing else today, remember this: no one, Not me, not a company, not a coach, not a partner, not a book, not a podcast. No one gives you work-life balance. You have to figure out your own version and take it. Next, success is walking the walk. The people working for you, and you will have a lot over your journey, are whole people with whole lives. Whether you like it or not, you are part of those lives. What role do you want to play? Midway through my career, I did one of those 360 reviews where your peers and your boss and your direct reports rate your performance. I'll never forget the moment that I learned that there wasn't a single person who didn't want me on a project because it would have a clear vision, a solid strategy, and I would execute flawlessly. But every person who responded was also resoundingly clear that no one would enjoy it. This feedback pulled me up short and permanently changed me as a leader, bringing a compassion, joy, and understanding to my leadership style that has made me a better leader and a happier person. Now, for those of you motivated by achievement, and I count myself amongst you, you should know that people are far more productive and motivated in an environment of trust and respect than an environment of fear. But all the fancy platitudes and Monday morning inspirational quotes and foosball championships are undone the moment your actions don't match your words. Walk the walk. And when you mess up, and you will, be self-aware enough to own it, apologize, and move everyone on. And while we're on the topic of people, in today's digital world, never underestimate the power of a handwritten thank you note. Success is asking for help. You will fall down multiple times, and the stronger, more confident, more traditionally successful you are, the harder you'll fall. Know it's coming and don't be afraid of it. Success means taking risks, speaking up, raising your voice, and writing your own rules. But along the path, don't make the mistake of equating asking for help with weakness. I did for years. And then I came across a problem that I couldn't figure out on my own, and I opened myself up to my community, both personally and professionally, and got comfortable saying, help. In addition to achieving great results, once I figured out that I couldn't do it on my own, and that was mainly me figuring it out because everybody else already knew it, I began to see how much more could be achieved when everyone's swimming in the same direction. Success is questioning the status quo. Don't ever stop asking why. Don't quiet yourself because something is outside of your swim lane or above your pay grade. Our world is changing at such a rapid speed in every aspect of our human experience that nothing is beyond our scrutiny. This approach is how you will differentiate yourself and provide the most value at any organization you start or join. And if you encounter one that doesn't value it, run, don't walk to a new place. Change is possible everywhere you look. Decades-old industries are being reinvented. How we communicate, shop, eat, save, give back are all undergoing change or are ripe for change. Be part of it in any way, large or small. Question, 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 especially if someone says that's just the way it's always been. Lastly, measure your success through your level of passion, not your level of achievement. The world you are entering in less than an hour as a newly minted MBA is filled with more dynamism, fundamental change, opportunity, challenge, need, fear, and excitement than any world we've experienced in our lifetime. What the world needs from each of you is your passion. And thankfully, the thing that can bring you the most success is the opportunity to unleash that passion. Don't let anyone or anything take that from you. Most notably, yourself. Nothing kills passion faster than a model of success that calls for a traditional definition of achievement. Let your passion be your measure of achievement. That will make you a contributing member of society and a new model of success. Now, I'm not sure if these measures of our contribution to society meet my father's intent, but my own experiences taught me that they are the only measures of success I want or need for my husband, for my children, for my colleagues and peers, for myself, and for each of you. The work ethic, that got you through the last few years, your clear commitment to your ongoing growth and development, and your demonstrated passion and enthusiasm to make an impact ensures you are poised to succeed when you leave here today. Make it a success that you can feel proud of, not in your most public moments, when it's easy to bask in the glow of others' praise, but in the moments where you are alone with yourself. Be successful to the world, but also in your heart and in your mind, in the purest and truest way that you know how. Congratulations to your family and friends for their part in your journey to this incredible achievement. And most importantly, congratulations to each of you. You will leave here today and begin your next chapter with confidence, heart, and a drive for success, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Big congratulations to the 3 EMBA classes of 2017. It is so nice to see so many of my personal former students under the tent, and I'm very, very proud of your achievements. Congratulations also to my colleagues, Paul, Bob, and Paul, for receiving the Commitment for Excellence Award, well deserved. Four years ago, the EMBA class of 2013 bestowed the Commitment of Excellence Award to Professor Nahum Melumad, who accepted it in person. The following year, the EMBA class of 2014 bestowed the Commitment to Excellence Award, again, to Professor Nahum Melumad. Unfortunately, Nahum could not personally accept the prize as he passed earlier in the year. His wife Maya and daughter Shiri, who is with me today, accepted the prize on his behalf. And actually, I'll stop for a second and make another congratulations here to Shiri, who is graduating this week from Columbia Business School doctoral program and becoming a marketing professor at that school in Philadelphia. Professor Nahum Melumad was a gifted scholar, amazing teacher, and a beloved friend for everyone. He was my personal mentor for almost 30 years. After his untimely passing, we wanted to ensure that his memory stays with us and with the school forever. We also wanted to capture Nahum's unique personality and qualities into his memorial. Two things came to mind. Nahum was the best in everything he did, and Nahum had a great passion for teaching, in particular in EMBA. So his friends at the accounting division initiate the Nahum D. Melumad Memorial Award, the highest honor given at the recognition ceremony to a graduating students from each class in the Executive MBA program. The recipients have demonstrated exceptional academic skills as well as a significant impact on the Columbia community. Each of today's 3 awardees will receive, above and beyond the great honor, a check in the amount of $2,000. This is the first time the Nahum Melumad Award is awarded. The recipient for the EMBA New York 2017 class is Sachin Jindul. The recipient for the EMBA Americas class of 2017 is Salman Noor Ali. And last but not least, the recipient for the EMBA New York 2017 Friday-Saturday class is Nadia Afridi. Thank you.
We'll now announce the Academic Excellence Awards. Students who demonstrate exceptional academic performance and are in the top 5% of their class graduate with Dean's Honors with distinction. As I call your names, I would ask that you please stand near your seat to be recognized. The following students will graduate with Dean's Honors with distinction for the EMs. Sachin Jindal, Kostas Karamphilidis, Ravi Nadella, Jay Peterson, and Mohet Singla. The following student will graduate with Dean's Honors with distinction for the Americas. Salman Noor Ali. The following students will graduate with Dean's Honors with distinction for the BAs. Nadia Afridi, Liad Ashkar, Andrew Redmond Galata, Tomoaki Kaito, Stephanie Renee May, George Peters Jr., and Matthew James Toronto. Our next awards are the Ethan R. Hannaberry Student Representative Awards. The Ethan R. Hannaberry Student Representative Awards are presented to the elected academic, cluster, career, honor board, and women in business student representatives to recognize their dedication to serving the interests of their classmates and to the overall betterment of the executive MBA program. The Dean's Office has named these awards for Ethan R. Hannaberry, who successfully led the school's EMBA programs, as well as other critical areas of the school before he retired. As I read your names, please stand in your seats to be recognized for your leadership and service to the EMBA community. The representatives for EM are Daniel Bruin, Rebecca Kalman, Lindsay Chalk, Jennifer Dorland, Chip Heilman, Nancy Kaplan, Nana Mensah, June O, Lokesh Ori, Sarah Singson, Liz Sung, Kush Teotia, Vanessa Veras, and Kathy Ju. The representatives for Americas are Vasanth Ali, Adrian Eisenstadt, Arju Busri, Miranda Davis, Kedar Ganta, Salima Rasul, and Michael Ryan Southern. The representatives for BA are Fahad Ahmed, Lauren Anderson, Julie Bailey, Prashant Das, Saif Farag, Riley Yepson Keating, John Massey, Nicole Sandretto Connolly, Xavier Segura, and Neha Sekri.
The Executive EMBA Distinguished Service Award is presented to a graduating student from each class selected by classmates as deserving special recognition for contributions to the spirit and achievement of the class. The EMBA New York Saturday class has chosen Lokesh Ori to receive the Distinguished Service Award. The EMBA Americas class has chosen Salman Noor Ali to receive the Distinguished Service Award. The EMBA New York Friday-Saturday class has chosen Fahad Aziz Ahmed to receive the Distinguished Service Award. So now the time has arrived. The names of our graduating students will be read by Felicia Goodman, Senior Associate Director of Student and Academic Affairs in EMBA, and Declan McCarroll, EMBA's Director of the EMBA Global and EMBA Americas programs. We kindly ask the audience to remain seated so that the names of all of our graduates can be read and heard.
Here we go. We will begin by reading the graduates of the EMBA New York Saturday class of 2017. Felipe Alves, Nianta Aurora, Heather McLean Binney, Megan Bloomer, Elia Bazanzan, Daniel Bruin, Haig Bochakjian, Rebecca Kalman, Michael Castelli, Isaac Cecil, Juan Esteban Cervantes, Victor Chan, Winnie Chan, Daphne Chang, slow them down, Lindsay Chalk, Angela Lily Chu, Tony Catone, Ran Sui, Stratford Dennis, Patrick Dietz, Katarzyna Domagala, Jennifer Dorland, Courtney Ercolino, Robert Fama, Sharuk Fateh, Khan Fukui, Jonathan Fuss, Ashley Halpern, Ann Parker Hammock, Corey Hartwick, Chip Heilman, Akif Irfan, Alan Jenkins, Sachin Jindal, Philip Y.J. Kang, Danny Cow, Nancy Lisa Kaplan, Kostas Karamphilidis, Ani Kavukjian, Thomas Corey, Henry Kim, Jonathan Kim, Stephen Kim, Arwind Kalaru, Eric Koo, Young Lei Do, Jamie Lee, Meng Lee, Albert Ko Long, Kareem Masarani, Samir Malhotra, Petar Markovic, Alex Mautone, James McAvoy, Varun Mehta, Nana Ya Tachiwa Mensa, Justin Metz, Eugene Mekulets, Akash Modi, Nathan Morris, Ravi Nadella, Manu G. Nathan, Pit Nugarat, June O, Lokesh Ori, Christopher Orr, Maria Laura Paes, Dr. Anna C. Pavlik, Jay Peterson, Prabhav Rakra, Dilip Rao, Kiran Kumar Rayapudi, Jeremy Reams, Michael Edward Redmond, Jared K. Richardson, Alan Rumanika, Wyatt Russo, Justin Saltzman, Russell Schmidt, Brian Michael Scully, Sunil Seelamseti, Johan Nosher Sidwa, Mohet Singla, Sarah Singson, Caitlin Snow, Liz Sung, Kush Teotia, Eric Tolchin, Shane Torchiana, Ryan Michael Trainer, Abhinav Tugnate, Vanessa Veras, Kim Fisher Warren, Allison Wilner, Nick Schall, Wye Shu, Christine Yu, Zach Zachariah, Lance Zhao, Kathy Ju, Brad Zucker.
We will now read the names of the graduates of the EMBA Americas class of 2016. Adrian Eisenstadt, Vasant Ali, Siri Scanlon Appel, Diego Arispe, Rupak Bhattacharya, Arzu Busri, Guillermo Cabrini, Carl William Servone, Ricardo Costa, Miranda Davis, Saya Dempsey, William C. Deng, Kedar Ganta, Brian Charles Griggs, Naima Hook Abrar, Arpit Jain, Ameya Nadkarni, Kenneth Allen Nelson II, Salman Nur Ali, Monica Poole, Eric Quirk, Salima Firoza Rasul, Gautam Sakdev, Esteban Saldariaga, Melissa San Victorez, David Mark Spellberg, Jeremy Stern, Alexandra Valencia, Rebecca Vanderpier, Pierce Wang, Michael Ryan Southern,
We will now read the names of the graduates of the EMBA New York Friday-Saturday class of 2017. Nadia Shabano Afridi. Irene Ajulia. Fahad Aziz Ahmed. Aaron Allen. Lauren Ashley Anderson. Amit Arora. Byron William Austin. Danielle Austin. Julie Bailey. Sarab Burla. Benjamin Bradford. Jennifer Broadbent. Patrick Brown. Mark Cabezas. Jeffrey Casarino. Axel Catalan. Janet K. Choi. Jeffrey Michael Collette. James Crowley. Dana M. Curry. Ranjit Dayama. Andrea Dodono. Henry Delouvrier. Prashant Das. Dave L. Helu. Ebi Elahi. Liad Eshkar. Saif Farag. Bill Fields. Richie Fleischman. Joseph Florio. Giovanni Gascione. Avery Baird Gashuhi. Herman Garcia. Michael Gentile. Felix Gill. Bradley Gordon. Blaise Goswami. Priscilla Guevara. Andrew Redmond Galata. Jose Ramon Gutierrez. Alia Hassan. Daniel Hatke. Rachel Hawkins. Carolyn Heisler. Jacqueline G. Henderson. Thomas Edward Hendricks. Noah Hoffman. Eduardo Olgado. Ryan Thomas Holgan. Sarah Sibley Shu. Chi En Hu. Lauren Hubert. Ursula Lauren Hurley. Rafael Eduardo Varela Aisan. Nikolai Jensen. Daphne Johnson. Clinton Kakai. Oner Kalar. Tomoaki Kito. Daniel Katz. Riley Yepson Keating. Owen Kiley. Jackie Kim. Sean Kim. Sue Hun Kim. A.D. King. Mac Klein. Tom Knapp. Lauren Dugdale Lieberman. Alex Liez. Karen Lewis Smith. Louisa Lorero. Amelia Manderscheid. Danny Mansukhani. Francesco Marchandi. John Massey. Robert Massaroni. Stephanie Renee May. John McQuaid. Michael Paul Mashanya. Devnath Mondal. Sue Kim Mortensen. Kate Mostrom. Jimson Mulakari. Jake Murphy. Stephen Murphy. Claire Murray. Bryce Nantis. Nasser Nizami. Kwejo Owusu Sarfo. Diana Perez. Antonio Perugino. George Peters Jr. James Patrick Philbin IV. Will Plaza. Jeffrey Pope. Natalia Papal. Shaheen Rana. Romeo Roje. Jeremy Rhodes. Ricardo Roberts. Marcos Romasanta. Trevor Thomas Russo. Sean Riker. Melanie Carol Samper. Nicole Sandretto Conley. Xavier Segura. Neha Sakri. Calvin Shen. Charles Chi Shen. Rahul Shetty. Satoshi Shimasaki. Brian Smith. Zach Solomon. Arpan Somani. Azer Songnaba. Tom Sternfeld. Victoria Summers. Matthew Sun. Matthew James Toronto. Andrew Turner. Charles Thompson. Crystal Thompson. Kevin Isaiah Thompson. Anissa Timothy Caesar. Farah Toublon. Scott Vincent Townsend. Olia Trepakov. Alina Tunyon. Christian Valcarcel. Ramon Velutini. Bryant Wang. Nicholas Weber. Trip Weber. Kevin White. C. Yang. John Yu. And Cynthia Jang. Please join us in applauding the graduates.
Okay, I know that I stand in the somewhat unenviable position of the last thing between this ceremony and your reception. I thank all of you for the handshakes. It was the only time I was warm this morning, so thank you for that. It's always a pleasure, too, to see so many of you have had the direct pleasure of working with. I just wanted to leave you with a thought. You've heard lots of things today, and congratulations again to all of you. But I'm probably aware that somebody somewhere told you that something you're interested in after this ceremony, you know, you shouldn't do that. The best days are in the past, and I want you never, ever to believe them. I'm going to close with a story. Some years ago, when I worked in the government, I was coming back from Japan with a Japanese colleague. We were working on a trade agreement together. It was called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We're still kind of working on it, even though it was a long time ago. We landed at Dulles Field, and we were taking a taxi into the Capitol to brief members of Congress. And we passed the Library of Congress, on which is written, "Past is prologue." And my Japanese counterpart turned to me and asked me what that meant. And I started going into one of my long-winded college professor-y kind of riffs. And the cab driver kind of lost it and turned around and said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." That's what we have in mind for you. Congratulations again. Now, we are going to recess to Ansel Plaza across campus. If you could wait for the graduates to go out with all of us first, and then grab your umbrellas and join us. It is under a tent. We will see you there.